It is August the 26th, and it is 6:29 p.m. 6:29 p.m. and I'm sitting on my new bed. I would like to actually mention a few things. I just heard that apparently the kids who came back from that Asha Marie went up to camp, and when they went up to camp, they spoke to kids about to all you kids out there, if you're listening. Sorry. They spoke to the kids, and yes, I have my blue wig on, and the only reason why I have it on is because I'm home. I'm not at a shelter like Sandra Long or Melanie Regatta would like to say. I'm at home, and I was working all day in the kitchen, volunteering, like I said before. Apparently, what had happened is that Asha Marie went up and they told all the kids that the Black and Beige Revolution, and I'm calling it a revolution, and the reason why I'm calling it a revolution, because it is your voice. It is your voice. That's what it is. It started out as a way to, because Ash, wanted to call Cash Fire Toronto a New Beginning Fellowship, which realistically speaking, you can't do that. I spoke about this before because Cash Fire Toronto and any church actually is a charitable organization. They have to have a business number, a charitable organization number to file their income taxes with the CRA. Ash is stupid. I don't like her. I make no bounds about it. She's stupid. She comes into a country where she thinks she can make the rules. She can't. And anyways, so what had happened is that she went up, both her and Marie went up and said that the Black and Beige Revolution, that I had started out as a way because she wanted to institute a uniform for the staff. And I did a kind of a retaliation of sorts, saying if you're going to be wear black and beige in order to support the movement, the opening up the can of worms, so to speak, of the exposing the satanic organization, the Satanism within Catch Fire Toronto and Catch Fire World, as well as the leadership, as well as betting schedules, as raping schedules, as well as the people exercising. People, when I say people, I'm talking about Murray, I'm talking about Duncan, I'm talking about Norman Brown, I'm talking about Jonas Regato and his pornography, I'm talking about Murray and his pedophilia and exercising their right to leadership, the men exercising their right to leadership over women and young women and their rights. And that has happened for years and years and years and years and years since John Arnott took his first companion and companionship and having no choice. So it was to be a that whole expose, so to speak, a support. And then when I started to learn about how Lara and Jasmine and Summer and all the children who would marry Audrey would give to Joanne Raddick and Sandra Abrams raping schedules for the kids, and how Melanie Regatta was actually raising her kids to be essentially little porn stars. That's what they were doing, because Jonas Regatta had taken a lot of Jasmine and Lara's friends and had used them in pornographic movies, and so, which I'm so proud of you kids out there who are telling your parents, who have told your parents, and who choose to wear beige and black, and to wear pink, or to wear beige and black and green, and that you're healing, and that you were angry, and that's okay to be angry, and that some of you who wanted to die, but that's okay because now you're choosing life. And I am so proud of the kids out there who've done that, as well as the young women, young men, and the women and the men who are standing beside their women, as well as the men and the young men who have had certain things happen to them as well. So that's why I instituted the beige and black, and the colors were instituted by Lara. Lara spoke over the microphone once that Lara would speak about what the colors were. And so that was really good. So I guess Ashley Murray said that it was a big scam, that I was using it as a way, I don't know for what. Um, and then people were also questioning where I was. Well, you know where I am. If you see me, I'm in Etobicoke and I work at Daily Bread. Well, it's there's another rumor. I these rumors going around, and I find all of these out, and I find them out from the microphone, and I find them out other ways as well. But there's these rumors going around that I find out about myself. Okay, number one, that I am taking the streetcar early in the morning to go to Daily Bread. First and foremost, I get off at Kipling and Lakeshore because I don't like walking up from Islington all the way up Birmingham. And when you get off at Kipling, you can walk halfway up the street and halfway up Kipling Avenue from Lakeshore, and you catch the bus there to go to New Toronto Street. So I do that early in the morning so I can deal drugs. Okay, I have police following me. I have police protection now. Okay, I was under surveillance by the police because Sandra Long had actually, and Ash had constantly called the police and said, follow her, follow her, follow her. She's dealing drugs, she's a mental patient, she's going to behave erratically. I have protection. Wherever I am, and all I have to do is wait for a few minutes. There's my escort. That's what I call them, my escort. Because they're looking for people who are high players. I call them high players because they're way up in the satanic organizations who have a link to Toronto and have a link to Raleigh and have a link to Niagara and have a link to Halton Region. So that's why. And that's why I was protected when I went into the shelter. And yes, I went into the shelter. I've been homeless 3 times. And the reason why I was homeless 3 times is because of and I'm calling it the chapter in my book that I'm writing, the e-transfer that never came. The promised e-transfer from Duncan that never came. Okay? So there's that. And so now that there's that other thing too, is that Sandra Long keeps calling Daily Bread Food Bank and keeps saying, you need to get her out of Daily Bread Food Bank. She's a mental patient, she's a methadone addict, she's a methadone dealer, she's dealing drugs. And then we have someone over the Peoples and Cultures Department who Sandra Long has been talking to as well. And actually Sandra Long had asked this person on the Peoples and Cultures Department to prove it is to follow me on a weekend. And this woman spent the day outside the apartment building of which I live. I rent a room. Outside the apartment building, Sandra Long paid her to monitor my activities. I've had my activities monitored by police wherever I go, by people in Daily Bread Food Bank, because people like Sandra Long and Ash have contacted them and told them what I was supposed to be doing, which I am not. People wonder where I get my money from. I get my money from Ontario Disability Support Program. I receive $1,333 a month. That $1,300, they take money off of my account, my income. It's considered income. My income, my ODSP, because back when I was on Ontario Works, I received a large sum of money from. Okay, wait a minute. I was on unemployment. I had a stroke back in 2014 at work. So I received unemployment insurance, but then I was on OW for a few months while I was waiting for my ODSP to come in, because I would file for ODSP because I had a stroke and I had a medical review, and the medical review revealed the fact that because I had a stroke, I would never have to have a medical review ever again in my life. So because I sent in MRIs and CT scans and everything like that after I had the stroke, so, and a heart attack as well. So, and I'm healed, by the way. So, yeah. So I was going. Where am I going with this? Yeah, I didn't fill out the cards right while I was on OW for a few months while waiting for my ODSP to come in. So I was on there for a few. I think it was about 4 months. So because I was on unemployment, I am receiving OW. The amount of money I was supposed to deduct, I didn't deduct correctly. It was the math. Anyway, so I get that amount of money. My room rent was $11.25. So after that, I have about $200 left. That $200 is for the month. I also receive trillium benefit, GST, and any other. I used to get. Excuse me. I'm gonna put my legs up here. I used to get the carbon payment, but since the premier has discontinued it, I don't receive it anymore. So I get all of those. I don't get an income tax return. I don't get any. That's fine, whatever that is. So when I'm figuring out my budget for the month, I get my ODSP check, and that's that, right? Pay my rent, whatever's left over. I get groceries. I put some money on my Press-to-Pass, and I have been I need clothing. So next month I'm eligible to get $500 because once a year, ODSP gives you an employment startup. And because I'm volunteering full time, and I do it full time because of the fact that Melanie Regato, she'll run around naked wherever I am, and her and Joseph, wherever I am, excuse me, wherever I go and frequent. And then her and Ash, I applied to a bakery down on Lakeshore Boulevard West. Ash called them and said that I have a mental issue, I deal drugs, and all this kind of stuff. They pull applications. They go in and tell managers. They've been doing this for 5 years now. 5 years. And Ashmore, excuse me. And Ashmore frequently, since when? For 3 years. That's defamation of character. The police have not, like I've repeatedly said, the police have not found me guilty of anything. I got charged with trespassing over at the Sandman Hotel because John didn't want me there. Ash didn't want me there. Sandra Long didn't want me there. Duncan didn't want me there. And neither did Kate. So that's the only charges that I actually have. I just can't go to the Sandman Hotel. As well as the fact that they charged me with trespassing over at they wanted to charge me with trespassing over at Atwell at the conference, at the Someone's conference, when Melinda Jeffries assaulted me. So when she was trying to move me during worship and she assaulted me, what ended up happening, if you were there, you would have seen her. She jabbed her elbow in to me, and when I turned, apparently I hit her stomach. Not that you would notice, but I had hit her stomach. But I have bruises. I have pictures of bruises all down my legs and bruises on my arms. And when she grabbed me, there was actually fingerprints on my arm, so I have that as well. So I have bruises when I charged her with assault. That's assault. If anyone is doing something that's under the Criminal Code of Canada, Section 263, I think it is, or 264, if anyone is trying to perform their duty and it's excessive, the point where they leave marks like bruises or you could look it up. I'm not saying it correctly. That's assault. Anyway, so what had happened is that they are continuously doing this, and hence the defamation of character suit. So Melanie and George's, that's why I volunteer at the Daily Bread. Daily Bread our Heavenly Father gave it to me as a community. I needed a community. I needed to, and originally Duncan had said to me, why don't you find a place to volunteer until April of this year. So I did. And Kate wanted me to go to find a church, and I was going to find Church on the Queensway, yeah. But Sandra Long called them, and Ash called them, and Marie called them, and I told them, the associate pastors, the truth about what the involvement of what had happened and the defamation of character suit, and I told them the truth about that. And Melanie Regato ran around the parking lot naked with a wig on and glasses like mine. So that's what she did. So then they called me and said that I couldn't they didn't want me at the church, which was fine. They have their prerogative. And then Melanie had decided to contact, and Ash had decided to contact every single church in the GTA that might think of going, and say that I was a danger to the community, in crisis, and I have behaved erratically. So I volunteer at Daily Bread. And for church, generally I was watching Catch Fire Rally, but now I watch Billy Graham sermons, do my devotions, listen to worship music, read my Bible, and pray. That's what I do on Sunday morning. And the community of Daily Bread. So we have Sandra Long, who has 4 bomb threats, by the way, and one of them was for Daily Bread. Who's calling someone over at Daily Bread and tell them that to get me out of there. I'm eventually gonna go nuts and start. I have a mental illness. I'm gonna go nuts and go crazy at Daily Bread, and I'm a danger and everything like that. And we have Melanie, who actually Melinda Jeffrey brought her down to the Daily Bread parking lot. And outside the parking lot, outside the gate, she stripped down naked and ran around naked, like she usually does, with a wig and glasses. And I know it's not me, because first of all, I had a knee injury, and secondly, they know that I don't run around, and plus they knew it wasn't me. Anyways, because there are significant markings on my body. I have 3 tattoos. I have a tattoo on my shoulder. I have 2 tattoos, one tattoo on my right ankle, which is a full vine and a heart on my left ankle. On my right ankle, I have a Japanese character that says "one who is blessed." So Melanie failed to get the tattoos on her ankles and on her shoulder. So if that's the whole thing. If you see her running around naked, and she's supposed to be me, she can't be me, because there are significant markings on my body, on my physical body, that you don't see. On my ankles when I wear sandals, and on my shoulder, as well as other markings. So can't be me. So she's been doing that, and so that's the suit. That's the lawsuit. I volunteer at Daily Bread on a regular basis because of the fact that I want to keep myself. I enjoy it there. It's a community. I have friends there. It's a great experience for me. I love working in the kitchen. I love cooking. I love helping out where I can. I don't have a job. I get my ODSP, and that's how I make my money. How did I buy a bed? How did I go to IKEA? And which, by the way, Sandra, Marie, and Duncan follow me there. How do I go to IKEA on a Saturday and purchase a $500, in total, a $200 bed frame, $200 mattress, plus linens, $50 thereabouts I spend, including a hot dog, a sundae, a coffee, and some of that Loganberry water thing, Swiss water. How did I do that? Toronto Housing Fund, Housing Stabilization Fund. It's a establishing a residence fund of $800. I bought a bed. I bought a mattress. I bought a stand-up mixer from Amazon and a coffee maker from Amazon. 1-cup coffee maker, because I don't have anything. And the rest of my furniture I have was from my friend Christine. A Daily Bread. So I am not dealing drugs. I'm going to be getting $500 prayerfully. I know our Heavenly Father is going to give it to me because I'm eligible for it once a year. And that's solely for clothing. And because I'm there all day, every day in the kitchen, and we have to wear non-slip shoes, and we have to wear black pants. I have to wear black pants because what they're doing is they're training me to be a line cook. So I wear black pants and my chef jacket, which thankfully I actually had the forethought to get my knife kit and my chef jacket from culinary school when I went back, one of my last trips back, to get my things out of my storage locker, which I don't have anymore, which Linda Cooley and Tracy Giesbrecht poured Pig's Blood out of with Jeff Yahtzee, and and a whole bunch of other people were there waiting for me to show up, and they sold all my things, and they burnt a whole bunch of things, and movies and documents and everything, and they burnt them. I ended up with 3 banana boxes full of pictures that were dumped out of boxes. Out of everything, I've saved my yearbooks from high school, my portfolio, and a cookbook that I saved from that was left that I hadn't already taken with me. I get comments that how are you surviving? You can't be living in Etobicoke. Jay McGuigan is telling everybody in St. Catharines that I live at a bus terminal in St. Catharines. I'm living on the streets in St. Catharines. I haven't been back to St. Catharines in over a year. I live right across from the lake. I live on Lakeshore Boulevard West. The apartment building I live in is right across from the lake. Every morning when I take the streetcar, I see the lake. Today when I was coming home, I was thinking to myself, as I was looking across the lake, in between the buildings and the businesses, St. Catharines is so far away from anything or anyone I ever want to return to. I can't return there. I return there, and that's when the people who want me back there, and they want me back there not for me to establish a life, but they want me back there to and this is why I have police protection. They want me back there to be lynched, and that's why I have people following me constantly. So I guess Ash and Murray told them it was a scam. They're trying to save face. Murray's there's enough of you who've gone forward that you have to know that Murray is going to be charged. Realistically speaking, I heard this afternoon on the microphone in my hearing aids that he had permanently damaged his daughter's vagina because of what he did to her. Permanently damaged. Now, he says permanently damaged. We all know that she's going to be healed and restored and cleansed. I also know that because there is enough of you, and enough of you who are going forward, that Jonas Regato is going to be going to prison as well. And Zachary Ledoux is going to be going to prison. The reality is that right now, they're trying to save face. They're trying to save face because there is a lawsuit happening. And they're trying to save face because Ash and Murray are they're the leaders, right? So they have to try and save face. Well, he was at camp. He exercised his right to leadership over I don't know how many dozens of young girls. And if you are listening to this, do not be afraid to wear your beige and black, or whatever color you feel. If you have a voice, then wear pink. If you don't want to talk about it, then wear blue. If you don't, if you were hospitalized or hurt in any way physically, then wear purple. If you're angry, then wear orange. If you're suicidal, then wear yellow. So when I see you, I will pray for you and speak life into you. If it just happened, obviously, if you're just coming back from camp, then wear brown. If you were a virgin, then wear red. And I pray, our Heavenly Father, that you're not pregnant, because then you'd be wearing white. And I'm glad to see a lot of green out there. I want to mention something as I'm sitting here noticing. Right here, if you notice my eye, you see someone was saying that is a sign that I have an addiction or something. This is where I have my stroke, all on this side, and I'm getting tired. So when I get tired on my left side, you'll notice, if you ever see me, this is That's what happens. Because I had a stroke on the side, on my left side, back in 2014, on February the 20th, 4:15 p.m. Because I had a stroke, when I get tired, my eye, it's almost like a lazy eye, but that's what happens. I don't slur my speech. Some people will, but I don't. And if you've had a stroke, I do. But that's what happens. So that's not an addiction. That's my stroke. I'm getting tired. I was up at 5:45 this morning. And I don't sleep well at night sometimes. Anyway, I have to go, but I have a Zoom meeting. I am also volunteering for Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation for the marathon for the Walk to Cure Cancer on September 6th. So that's in a couple weeks. So I have training for that. But I do want to say this. Whatever lies you're hearing over in Toronto from Melanie, from Jotis, from Murray, from Ash, from Duncan, from Kate, from Sandra Long, from Lillian Brown, from Norman Brown, from anyone, I want you to believe, first of all, seek our Heavenly Father's face. Look at where it's coming from. Look at what's happened. And look at the outcry. When you look at the outcry, and you look at all of you who have your voices with the colors you're wearing, and you see that outcry, that is what the truth is. That is the truth. I can speak, and I can speak, and I can speak, and I can speak, but you out there know the truth. And you have seen the truth, and all you have to do is look at the colors. Sometimes it amazes me. Sometimes it astonishes me. Sometimes it makes me angry. Sometimes it makes me sad. But sometimes, ultimately, when I see it, and when I hear people say out loud and they scream down the street or wherever, "Good job, Michelle," it's not just me. Don't just say "Good job, Michelle." Say "Good job" to yourself. Because you're saying it, because that's the voice you do have. And that voice with those colors, don't let people like Ash and Murray and Duncan and Kate and anyone else, Melanie and Jonathan and Zachary and Melinda Jeffries and any of those people tell you what you have to wear, what you have to say, how it's a scam. They're trying to squelch the truth. And the truth has been squelched enough. That's what I have to say. I really have to go. I have a Zoom meeting right now. So hope to see you all out there. Continue to show your voice, speak your voice. You don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. But continue to speak. If you're angry, that's what you can be angry. Continue to seek our Heavenly Father's face. Get healing. See, my prayer for you is that you seek out those who you can trust and support, and who will surround you with love. And that's what you need the most right now. So those who this has happened to, you need love. And you need someone you could trust. Yeah. The colors are your voice. The colors speak the truth. Have a good night.